Hey guys, good morning. Rachel Norris with Thunk Creative Designs. We are back in the she shed, and as you can see, we've minimized some of the clutter in here. So we're going to be sweeping up all of this stuff, then we'll come back with a shop vac, and we will we'll get the rest of the floors as clean as possible, and then we will begin our flooring technique that we're gonna try out in the she shed. Okay guys, we're back, and we have deep cleaned the floors. We have not only dust busted, then we went back and actually wire brushed as much as we possibly could, anything and everything that would come off of the surface of the floor. Just gonna pan around for you guys. Then we swept. Ignore those trash bags because that is actually our flooring. We'll get to that in a minute. And then you can see I have this yucky water here, excuse me, and we lightly, well not lightly, we kind of aggressively wiped over the concrete because this is a little bit rough. You guys can kind of see where the markings are in the floor. It is a little rough, and that's why we're going to be doing flooring, but the technique that we're going to be doing is excellent for concrete floors. So again, we dust busted, swept, wiped everything down to get as much dust off the floor as possible. You're going to want to make sure there are no tiny pebbles, tiny rocks, anything that you think might affect the smoothest surface possible. Because this next part, you're going to see why that is really, really important. And I will cover that also as we work. So I'm going to get set up, and I'll come right back to the video. Okay guys, we're back, and this is the original concrete floor. So we are going to get started. Okay, so first of all, you're going to want to go to your local hardware store and pick up a contracting paper or a craft paper. You could even use the paper that they wrap your packages in from Amazon, or put in the boxes to protect the packages. As long as it's craft paper, you're good to go. Then you're going to take your pieces and you're going to tear your edges from your middles. Obviously, this is pretty self-explanatory, I'm sure, but your edge pieces are going to go along the edge of your wall, okay? The middle pieces go to the middle part. Then you're going to mix up a 50-50 ratio of Elmer's glue and water. Now I have a massive bucket here, but I plan to do a couple of different floors, so that's why I went ahead and mixed up a ton of this stuff, because it'll last a while. And basically it's pretty self-explanatory. If you know anything about decoupage, that's what we're doing. So let me get my brush. And guys, I just grabbed a cheap brush. I don't want to run a good brush to do this, and I'm just going to be using a 3-inch brush. Not sure if you can see that. And you just take it a piece at a time. But you're going to dip your brush in your mixture, and you're going to start painting it on the floor. This, if I can find the link, I want to give credit to the lady that come up with this idea, because it was genius. And not only does she show you how to do it in her video, but she was featured in a magazine after doing it, as well as she came back and did a review a couple years later, and it was still great. There were a couple of things like the sun had come through the window a little bit and it had kind of, you know, bleached it out where she had a rug, but that happens a lot. So I'm not, you know, to different types of flooring. I've seen it happen to carpet before. So it's not something that really surprised me, and I wouldn't say that it was just because of this type of flooring that it happened. But she did it in her son and daughter's bedroom. I believe they were teenagers. So that's going to get, you know, a little more traffic, slumber parties, people over. So I was thoroughly impressed with it. And for something like this, my kiddos are going to be in here and hanging out with their friends. There'll be traffic in and out. I even have girlfriends that want to come see the she shed just to come hang out. So I was really, really impressed myself. So because of the water, it's taking pretty well. And we're just going to goof this stuff on here. This concrete floor, guys, is pretty rough. And so I'm hoping that this will smooth it out. When I'm done, the one thing that I am going to do different, because this is like a, you know, an outer building, again, completely sealed up like your house would be. We've taken every precaution to make sure that the girls are safe and, you know, no bugs or critters or any of that are going to get in. But we are going to make sure that, let me drop another edge piece. That seems to be my word of the day. Sorry guys, honestly my brain is, this is the latter part of the day. I got kiddos in the house jumping in the bathtub, and I've got dinner in the crock pot. So typical mom over here. And so my brain is kind of in 50 places at once. I've got a pickup fixing to happen, so I'm gonna have to stop here in just a minute and go take care of that, and I'll be back. But anyway, what I was saying is I'm super psyched about this basically, and the wear and tear. I'm not too concerned, because one of the things that's great about it is if a spot gets worn out, it's paper. You know, I can go and pick up another roll of paper at the hardware store and come in and patch and move on. Before that, what I was saying, sorry, oh my gosh guys, I'm horrible today, my brain is just everywhere. But what I was saying is, the one thing that I'm going to be doing different that I haven't yet seen done is, instead of using polyurethane to seal the floor, which is what I keep seeing, I am going to be using a concrete sealer. And I'm going to try that out. It's a big gamble, but that's what I'm going to try to see if I like that better than what I've seen from the polyurethane. I had no issues with the polyurethane. I just really want to try this new product that's out, and so I'm going to see how that goes. I am going to do, everybody that I've seen do this technique, I have seen them come back and use like 5 or 6 coats, layers of polyurethane on their floor. I think that's great. If it works, that's fabulous. But I don't know, I just want to try out this concrete thing. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's what we're going to seal with. So I'm leaving a little bit of a bubble over here because I'm trying to get this to go up under the wall. So overall, when you're finished, what I keep noticing is I love the forgiveness in this paper, because you can reapply if you need to. But one of the things, the overall finished look that I keep seeing with this is kind of a leather. It makes the floors look leathery, but at the same time, it kind of looks like stone. So it's really, really cool. And for the whole bohemian theme that we're doing in this room, I just think it'll be awesome. I know I have a spot missing over there, guys. I'm going to patch that with something else here in a minute. I let my daughters help me with the tearing and the, you know, crinkling. You want to crinkle the paper a couple of different times, especially depending on your thickness. If it's really thick, you want to crinkle each piece probably 3-4 times. It makes the paper a lot more pliable, and I'm just trying to get it really saturated, sorry. It makes it a lot more pliable, as well as kind of softens it so it'll, you know, kind of conform to whatever you need it to. We're going to be putting baseboards down in here, but I want the flooring obviously under the baseboards. But right here, it's super, super cool because you can see the, I don't know if you guys can see that on camera. Yeah, you can. Right here, it just looks kind of like, I don't know, stone. And when you crinkle it, it starts to look like it has the veins that sometimes different stones look like they have. Now, one thing I will tell you that I have seen in the reviews and whatnot of this is that it will bubble before it dries. And then a couple of days later, it will lay itself back down flat against the floor. So just be ready for that. Don't be afraid of that if you try it. I did get, for the record, a little bit of a thicker paper because this concrete is so rough. It's not super smooth, and I really didn't want the girls to feel that. They have a beautiful area rug, as well as I got them a pad for underneath their rug, so they're going to have some perfect, you know, nice fluffy areas to sit if they want to sit down on the floor, or even for their comfort of their feet. They'll be good to go on that. But sorry for shaking the camera. I'm going to move the tripod back, guys. And I hope you're bearing with me because I am not a videographer. A lot of you guys that know me, you know that I do photography, which is entirely different than videography. So big props and shout out to, you know, all my video people, because I am not one of them. And you guys are amazing. So I'm going to tear a little piece off in here because I'm going to go back and patch that spot, and then we're going to come over here. So, and truth be told, I am a little bit camera shy for those that don't know. Okay. So I'm just going to saturate that really, really good again. It's already still pretty wet. I'm going to insert that little piece. Sorry if this was live, you guys could let me know if I'm in frame. I think I am. Yeah. Okay. Now, another thing that I didn't know that I have learned, I'm trying to remember everything. It's been a few months back since I decided to do this flooring. You're going to keep continuously stirring your mixture. Just FYI. And by the way, Lowe's, if anybody from Lowe's watches this video and you see my stir stick, you know, give me a shout out or something. Just teasing, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna come on over here. For the record, this rougher concrete, I'm kind of glad that this is the video I'm doing for you guys on this type of concrete first, because you do have to do a couple of back and forths. You have to get a little bit thicker with it. I am glad that I do have this massive bucket of glue now because you really have to work it in to get it in every little nook and cranny. So I'm a little bit OCD with the details, if some of you guys don't know. Make sure that I don't have any air pockets or air bubbles up underneath where I'm working. And I am right now working right underneath their air conditioner, so it's going to be trying to dry this stuff pretty quick. Move that over. A fairly large piece in my hand, so I'm going to do a large area. So Joe and I plenty of time to visit, so I'm just going to talk to you guys. Which, by the way, does feel like I'm talking to myself, which is not something I typically do. So it's a little odd. But while we got time, a couple years ago, Joe was talking about we needed to start a channel because not everybody can afford interior design and interior decor. And, not interior decor, excuse me, contractors and interior designers. And so we wanted to make some things, you know, at least what we could, available to you guys, and try out some fun things, share those with you guys, and without you having to pay for them. You know, a lot of people want to DIY and maybe they just aren't sure where to start, or, you know, need a little help, or need an answer to a question. And so that's what we're doing this for. One of our next projects will be renovating our YouTube studio, because we are going all out right next door to the shisha, and we're going to be putting in a studio so that we can do more videos for you guys. So I'm going to have to get a little more comfortable with this for the record. Oh my gosh, guys, I can't wait for this to dry. It's going to be gorgeous. At least I hope anyway, if I'm doing it right. I think I am. It's adhesing pretty well. So we're just going to hope and pray again. So. But anyway, we're going to be doing some videos for you guys, some more, and doing these little videos and learning how to edit and all of that. Hopefully will help me to get rid of some of my camera shyness. For those of you who haven't noticed, I have not been on camera yet. Joe and I have talked about doing a get to know us sit down video, because we've had a lot of questions, and my parents were up visiting last week, and they told me, or my mom, she went to our local grocery store, and a lot of people in town, they know Joe and I, and a lot of people don't, because, you know, we are kind of quiet, we kind of tend to keep to ourselves. That's not for really any particular reason. We just, that's just us. We're not from the town that we live in, so it's kind of hard to, you know, approach people sometimes. But my mom was telling me that she had gone to the local grocery store, and somebody, sorry I don't know your name, sweetie, she told me you're on my Facebook, so hopefully you get to see this video and you'll let me know who you are. But she didn't get their name, but somehow my business came up, and what my husband and I do came up, and this absolute sweetheart girl told my mom that she follows my page and sees some of the things that we have going on, but she wasn't exactly sure what we do. And obviously, as a business, you don't want people to not know what you do, so we decided that here pretty soon we want to do a sit down and get to know you, and we're going to take some of the questions that we've received recently and in the past, and we're going to use those as a starting point, and maybe get some of those things answered for you guys. On another note, back to the floors. So one of the things that I found out, and I meant to tell you guys earlier, is there are apparently two sides to craft paper. There's a rougher side and a smoother side, just like tinfoil. And so as you're working, if those pieces are getting flipped and flopped, you'll end up with an even prettier multi-stone look. You'll end up with a two-tone floor. And I'm thinking we might have that go on right here. I don't know if you guys can tell, this is a little bit lighter than this is coming out, which I'm totally psyched about. I want it to look that way. But anyway, just FYI. As you're working, that's going to happen. So if that's not something you like, I would not recommend these floors. Alright, so we're just going to keep going. Let it get really good in that crease their cracker, whatever you want to call it. So our client just came and picked up her piece. While I was gone, we've had a little bit of drying going on over in the corner. Not sure if you guys can see some of the multicolored going on over there. I'm kind of excited. And a little bit of the bubbling is happening, but I'm not stressing about it, okay? Because I do know that that is to be expected. Move that cord, sorry. Got my phone on the charger while I'm filming right now, guys. Was able to check dinner for all of my moms that are watching. The house smells amazing. I'm starving, but I really, really, really want to get this done tonight. So, Joe is outside. He is taking the things, anything that was left in here from when it was our shed, and he's putting that away. So he's already cut the baseboards. So I don't know if you guys can see the number 6 down here, but if you can see the numbers on the wall, that's what that's about. I love how these little creases and everything are bringing the floor to life. I'm scrambling to get this done because my little niece came and she has been with us for a few days now, and of course she's younger than my girls, so she is very, very, very excited, and she lives in Texas, so she knows that even though Auntie and Uncle are scrambling to get this done so she can see it before she leaves, it might not be a possibility because of the dry time on the floor. So I'm hoping that if I can get on this, we can get it dried and then get it sealed and she can see it, because right now the only thing her little heart wants is for the she shed to be finished so that she can enjoy it before she has to go home. And of course she knows that this is also her she shed, even though she lives in Texas. She's been talking to me all week about her she shed. It's too cute. She's 2 years younger than my youngest, so it's been kind of refreshing to have a littler one around again. It's not too much. Not too much younger. She's been a lot of fun. Kept me on my toes. But she's been a lot of fun. Things that my 10-year-old has outgrown, it's been fun to get to do with her. But you get used to having those older ones, and so you forget about all the fun little things that the little ones like to do sometimes, and so it's been a good time. Of course, I love my older ones too, because now they get to do things with Mom that they couldn't do when they were little, so that's exciting. Especially since I have 2 girls. Lots of fun. You'll notice that we have some very unique shapes going on here. My girls tried the best they could to make this paper as organically shaped as possible, because they knew that they wanted it to look, you know, kind of like stone, but since the paper was so thick, it kind of tends to do its own thing sometimes, so they did the best they could, and I think it looks awesome. It definitely is a story, that's for sure. Figuring out that smoothing it down with your hands is very, very helpful. I'll go back and smooth a little bit of this. There it is. I'm going to start this way. So if you work from the middle outward, it'll help to smooth out some of those bubbles. For those of you that have decoupaged, I'm sure you guys will definitely have no problem if you try this technique at all. I think I am noticing that the rougher side, or whichever side it is that's soaking this up better, one side soaks up better. But it is very, very hard to tell with the naked eye which side is the shining side and which side is not. I can't tell, guys. What about you? Can you tell a difference? But I'm definitely seeing the two-tone color going on here. Another thing I'm noticing is where it's bubbling up, it's more saturated. Like the stuff on that's attached and already adhesed itself, that seems to be drying quicker than the stuff that's trying to bubble, which is probably why they say that the bubbles go ahead and lay themselves down later. Just because of the tackiness, maybe? I don't know. But we're gonna move it on down and just keep going. I promise if I find out why one is better than the other, I will let you guys know. And that board is just not going to cooperate. Story of my life. Irregardless, I'm definitely loving the look of this. So, okay. Another thing, now I'm not doing it because I'm really not trying to get things super, super messy. And I've heard that it can be that way if you do this other technique I'm going to tell you about. However, I have heard and I have seen a couple of people take their paper and saturate it. Like, I would use probably a 5-gallon bucket, but they crumble the paper, you know, repeatedly, and then, sorry guys, my throat is just crazy today, but they crumble the paper and then they submerge it and completely saturate it in the glue and water solution, and then put it on the floor after they've done this right here and painted the concrete with the solution as well. It sounds like it would be amazing. I unfortunately don't have the time to play in that kind of a mess right this second. So I'm gonna try this. And the good thing is I have tons and tons and tons of this craft paper, so if I don't do it right, which I've done everything that, you know, they've said to do, but if I don't do it right, then I will be able to go back and take it up and change it if I have to. Crossing my fingers that that's not something I have to do. when I come back and seal it, I have a fun little trick that I will be showing you guys. I've got a couple other videos I need to get uploaded. It's just kind of hard when it's just Joe and I. I don't have time to do a ton of editing, but otherwise I'd probably be better at the whole videographer thing. But anyways, I have a couple of other videos, one of which is painting a hardwood floor, and there's a technique that I use, but I'm also going to use it in here. I'm not going to paint the floor, but at least I don't think I am, but I do have a technique that should make this a little bit easier when it comes to sealing. So that is what I'll be showing you guys. An easier way of doing that then. If you see me lifting, it's to lift and pull because I have maybe an air pocket that's not wanting to release. There we go. Alright guys, for the most part, I think you guys, you know, apart from just listening to me ramble, have got the general idea. It's a 50-50 Elmer's glue and water ratio for your adhesive. You're going to be using craft paper, so whether that be brown paper sacks, whether you buy it by the roll, whether you go to your Home Depot store and get contractor's paper, that's it. That's pretty much all you use. And I use a cheap paintbrush to put the adhesive on. You're going to start from the middle if you can and work any bubbles you can out. And if you can, as you work your way, when you put a new piece of paper down, which I have not done several times, I know, I'm sorry, shame on me, but when you put that paper down, press it in the center and start working your hands out. That'll help to release a lot of the air bubbles from the get-go. I kind of want some of the wrinkly effect in mine, so that's one of the reasons why I haven't been doing it from the beginning. I'll do it in a couple places, but I probably won't do my entire floor because I want some of that crinkle and texture to it, so it looks more like stone. But that's it, guys. Simple, cheap supplies and very, very simple technique, and hopefully this will be dry by morning. I have really good airflow in here right now, so, and it seems to be drying already, so I'm hoping that by morning that it will be dry, and if not, then we'll give it a little bit longer. I'll probably prop the door open, and then we'll come back and seal it.